Alrighty guys, so we're back with the VirtualBox and we're setting up our environment, and today what we're going to be doing is actually getting the Ubuntu operating system downloaded and pointed to this virtual machine so the virtual machine knows what operating system to open. And we're also going to be doing a little bit more configuration with the settings to make sure that it runs smoothly. One thing that I forgot to mention in the previous video that is important for virtual machines, especially with Linux, it can be slow. And one way to speed this up is using something called virtualization. That's kind of beyond the scope of my video series. I'm not going to show you guys how to turn on virtualization on your machine. If you have trouble setting up some of the stuff that I'm doing inside of this video, and I'll take note of when these steps would occur. I'll probably have some links in my video to people who have explained virtualization very well and gone through some tutorials to show people how to turn on virtualization for their machine. But usually it is something to do with your BIOS. Usually you have to go into your BIOS of your machine and turn on virtualization, and that allows VirtualBox to take control of multiple cores in your CPU, for instance. Which is very, very, very helpful in the performance aspect of VirtualBox. So that's just an important thing to mention. I'm going to go ahead and open up my Firefox browser real quick, drag that window over. We are going to look up the operating system Ubuntu. So go ahead and type in Ubuntu, that's U-B-U-N-T-U, into your browser, and click the first link that you see. This is, it's not the only operating system for Linux, but it's my favorite. We're going to go and click download, Ubuntu desktop, download, and we are just going to say you don't have to mess with these filter things unless you want to donate to them, but not now. Take me to the download is what I'm going to click. So I should be getting the 16.04.1 desktop AMD 64 ISO. I'm going to save that. And this is a pretty big file. It's going to take a little while for it to download, so I'm going to go ahead and pause the video and pick up when it's finished. Okay, so my download completed. It's right there. I'm going to open up my file browser, and I'm going to go to a place that I know where this operating system will be. Actually, you know what? That's not a good file location. Let's just say I'm going to create a new folder, YouTube assets. And then I'm going to move this over here, bring that over here, and I'm going to drag this ISO file into my folder that I know where it's going to be. It's important to know where this is because we're going to point VirtualBox to it here pretty soon. So go ahead and open up your VirtualBox again, and we're going to start configuring this VirtualBox. So you want to make sure that it's highlighted in blue, and then you want to click Settings. Alrighty. So here are your general settings. You can change the type of operating system, the version, the name, advanced. I like to go ahead and do a shared clipboard bidirectional. This means that if you copy and paste, it'll be in your board both on your main machine and your local machine, which I can show you guys in a later video exactly what that means, but I think it's pretty self-explanatory. And that's really all you need to do for the general tab. Go ahead and go down to the system tab. This is where your RAM memory is set. Like I said, you can change it, you can decrease it, increase it, whatever you feel you need to do. I hardly ever mess with any of this stuff. If you go to the processor tab, this is pretty important. You want to boost your processors to the max amount that you can have, just because it allows the operating system to go faster and be smoother, and especially with Ubuntu, it requires you to have at least 2 cores, otherwise you're going to have poor performance. So if you don't have virtualization turned on, you won't be able to do that. And some machines have virtualization turned on by default. It's really up to you, like how your machine was configured and built. I'll have some links in my video in the description that'll tell you guys, like in case you guys get lost on how to turn virtualization on. But I'm not going to show you guys how to do that because it's kind of in depth, and you have to go in the BIOS, and it's beyond the scope of this tutorial. And then acceleration, you'll see that that's your virtualization, but that's not important. And then go to display. I'm only going to have one monitor because I only record on one monitor, but if you want to have 2, 3, or 4 monitors, you could always do that. I am going to enable 3D acceleration though, because it allows for quicker, again, it's just a faster way, like it increases the speed of your machine. So the last thing we're going to be looking at is storage. This is where we need to point the image file, the Ubuntu image file that we just downloaded. Go ahead and click under Controller IDE, this little disk that says empty. You're going to want to come over here and it says Optical Drive IDE Secondary Master. You want to click this little disk image right here. When you click it, it's going to bring up Choose Virtual Optical Disk Drive. You can see that I already have a few over here from previous times when I've set this up, but we're going to click Choose Virtual Optical Disk File. And then we're going to go back to where we saved that Ubuntu 16.04.1 desktop AMD64.iso file from the Ubuntu website. Click Open, and then click OK. If everything was set up correctly, you should be able to hit Start. And if this starts up correctly, I'm going to stop the video, and we'll go through the configuration process in the next one. So yeah, if you see this right here, this little keyboard symbol with a guy inside of a circle, that means that you have set up your Linux VirtualBox correctly. In the next video, I'm going to cover the basic setup tutorial that Linux requires you to do before you actually start using. So yeah, see you guys in the next video.